Sara Berki released her debut single Fallin Off the Heartline earlier this year, and I loved it. A lot of other people loved it, and she's just released another fantastic single, Good Enough, and we're going to have a chat about that. Hello, Sara.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I've been listening to the single and perhaps some other songs of yours, which we'll get to. But I wanted to start by asking about Good Enough and what it's about. Please tell me.
Yeah, so Good Enough. I mean, it came from a situation, I guess, where I was, what I was in. I was pretty down in the dumps in love, and someone had come along and picked me up and made me feel so amazing, and kind of questioned, what did you ever put up with before? And I guess, it's quite easy to just put up with the love that is just good enough. It's just one of them things that, you kind of sweep it under the rug. And this song was such a pleasure to write, because it just came so organically. It was done within, from about 10:30 till 1:30 in the day. It was just one of them songs that it was so fun to write too, because I knew that it was going to be far more upbeat than what I had, on hand with any other song that I had really written. So yeah, that's pretty much how it came about.
So when you had that initial spark to write it, because it came so quickly, was it just that you were sitting thinking about that relationship that had made you feel not good enough, or the one that made you realize that you felt that before? So was it a memory that triggered it, or was it just it had been bubbling away and you thought, I'm just going to sit down now and do this?
I was very appreciative of, the person who had helped me, to finally feel the love that you are meant to feel when you are so in love with someone. And I just thought, I'm going to write a song. I'm going to write a song about it. And I think I even came up with the chorus first, the hook, the "you once told me." I came up with that first before I wrote anything else of it. So I kind of did it like it wasn't like any other song that I had written.
Right.
Yeah, it was just one of them things that I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's going to go. So yeah.
So do you normally start with a verse, like the first verse, you go from the beginning through the beginning, middle, end? Right. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even know where my head was at when I was writing that. But it came to me. So I started writing it, and it was a way that I've never written another song like that.
Well, it was obviously just, the idea was in the ether and you plucked it and then did something with it.
That's it. I did, definitely.
And I guess, the message that's in it about good enough, often women in particular, I guess, are programmed to accept less than, to say, well, you should be grateful for everything you get, instead of turning around and saying, actually, the other person should be grateful for everything they're getting. And it is an issue for people of all ages in all sorts of situations. So have you had any feedback from listeners about that it's caused them to stop and think about their own situation?
Not as of yet. I actually haven't, but that's a very good point. I feel like, especially if you've had something in the past that has broken you so bad, and however many years it may have been, or you have to do so much work on yourself to bring you up to a part in your life that you can actually love someone again, and you feel it, this is how it's meant to be. And yeah, I think that's why, like, Good Enough is so special to me. It's a song that it's actually my favorite to play live. It's my favorite. And no matter, even if people don't know it by lyric, you can see them tapping along, or but it's been very well received. It has, I think people are really loving it, for many reasons, hopefully. But
Look, I'm sure you will have people talking to you about it because, you know, the good thing about music is it's eternal. So it might be in 5 years' time, someone comes up to you and says, you know what, that song made me rethink what I was putting up with.
Yeah.
Which will be a job well done. And speaking of you playing songs live, you have just been on tour with McAlister Kemp, those outrageous wild boys, McAlister Kemp. How did that go?
Oh man, them guys, they are so fun. They're just, yeah, they are so welcoming. They were so awesome to just be around, you know, like the fact that I was even I was invited to go on tour with them was like a total blowout. And yeah, I mean, we're going to keep in contact. I would love to hang out with them and you know, spend more time with them. And you know, when we're at the same kind of events, or if we're, you know, at the same festivals, like have a quick little bevy with them. They're just so funny. They're honestly hilarious. They're so good to be around. They put on such a good show. And the fact that they just welcomed me, you know, like, but it was awesome. It was so much fun. Loved it.
Well, they're no fools. I mean, they've got their pick of people to take on tour. So, you know, it's I think they know what they're doing. But also Troy, nothing against Drew, because Drew is a fantastic artist in his own right, but Troy has developed a nice line in doing duets with female singers. So if you ever need a duet partner, I reckon he's the one.
Definitely. Yeah, I'd love to write with either one of them. I know, you know, we spoke about it. So maybe that could be something. I've never co-written before. It's not something that, you know, it's definitely not something that I haven't considered. But it's just, yeah, something that I've never done. And I would love to co-write with them. So maybe the pipeline.
I actually did have a question about that, because I've heard that you write all your songs alone, which is unusual, actually. Most artists I speak to do a lot of co-writing, but I guess that's just something that you've developed. You write your songs as they come to you, and co-writes do require a bit of organization and also having relationships, and Good Enough is only your second single.
Yeah, that's it. It is, definitely.
So do you think you might head off to like the DAG sheep station or anything like that? That's not everyone's cup of tea, though.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's definitely on the cards.
And being on that tour with McAlister Kemp, yeah, it is your chance to play your originals for audiences, and so that must be an amazing feeling to know that these are songs that you created on your own at home, and then they're out in the world.
Yeah, it was very, it was like, you know, the calm before the storm. I was just like this little mellow yellow chick with my guitar, and like everyone in the crowd was so quiet. And then as soon as the boys came on, it was like go time. But yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I actually haven't played a band show yet. With you know, for what's you know, my EP that's set to come out, but I don't mind playing acoustic shows. I actually don't. I don't mind. You know, it's a totally different show. It's a totally different atmosphere when it's just you up there with a guitar and you're able to, you know, sing your song and talk about it, and people, honestly, they sit and they listen. And that is a beautiful thing. That is like, it's like nothing else in the world. It's amazing.
I think look, country music audiences, in particular, I think are it's not necessarily politeness, but they want to listen because they want the stories. Definitely. But it also, for the artist, I often think it's such a vulnerable thing to say, well, here's something from my experience. So when you first started doing that, did you feel vulnerable, or did you think, okay, no, I'm putting on a performance?
I truly still do. I still get the nerves. I still get the same nerves as what I did, you know, when I first started playing shows. And I think that's only natural. It's good to have nerves, because as soon as you start kind of releasing and you let yourself go a little bit, your voice isn't so, you're just not so strung up. You know, you got more control over
Mhm.
it. But yeah, to answer that question, I still get like that, and I truly think that I always will.
Yeah.
Oh, no matter what I do, I think I'm always gonna be like that, and I don't mind. It's okay. It's just who I am, and maybe one day I might overcome it. I don't know how I'm going to, but yeah, I'm still gonna get nervous.
Well, I tend to think nerves tell you that you care,
Yep,
and so if you do reach a point where you don't have them,
yep,
maybe you're a bit blasé about the people who are showing up to see you.
100%. I totally agree.
So what else have you been up to since Tamworth? Because when we last spoke, it was not long after that festival.
Yeah, wow. My From the time that I last spoke with you to now, my life has changed so much. I can definitely speak better about my music and what's to come. I know how to I know what's coming. It's all, I've got a huge team behind me. I'm under management. I love my manager. He is awesome. He is so oh I yeah I'm stoked to be working with him. Yeah, my distribution team is awesome. PR is amazing, of course. Just heaps of making connection with people, and relationships and that kind of thing. I went to CMC. That was awesome. That was really, really fun. I got to see so many artists that I love. I love to watch them as a punter. Like, I stood in the crowd, and it was just amazing. It was so good. Yeah, and I mean, I've just been doing a bit of groundwork, really. I haven't that all that busy with gigs and that kind of thing. But yeah, just cruising, really, just making good connection with people, and just writing, so much writing. I mean, I still have to. We know, people know that there's an EP in the pipeline. People have known it for quite some time now. All my ducks are lined up. So it will be coming out very, very soon. But apart from that EP, I actually have about 17 songs ready to go. And I mean, it's only natural, but when you're a songwriter, you go through stints of they just come to you so quickly. And I'm like, I might listen to a song from, people who I love to listen to, Zach Bryan, Tyler Childers, Coulter Wall, and I'll say to myself, I want to write a song like that. So I truly go and write a song, and I'm very excited. I mean, I'm super excited for my EP, and to release that, but I'm also recording a new song at the moment. So excited for that. That's going to be really cool. It's so different to what is on the EP. Actually, the EP is going from a 5-track EP to a 6-track, so it's been to the EP. And yeah, I mean, just preparing for next year. Next year's, oh my god, next year's just, yeah, it gives me anxiety thinking about how much I've already got booked in.
Oh.
But it's going to be crazy. It's going to be so good. So yeah.
Well, there's a few things I can ask you about out of that, but I'll start actually with the last bit, which is about booking that far ahead, because a lot of people who aren't performing artists may not realize that, yes, you can be booked way ahead, which is why the pandemic threw a lot of people, because their years were planned not only through them, but a lot of other things as well, but their whole planning just disappeared. So how far ahead are you booked?
Oh, August.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, August is where I'm up to for next year. There may be a trip in there. There may be a trip to the US. So just seeing if I can, if it's doable, if it'll fit in with what I've already got booked in.
But that's super exciting. And, you know, these opportunities don't come along just because people feel like giving them to you. And I'll then go to the EP. So I have heard the 5-track version, and the EP does contain the 2 singles already released. And the EP is very, very good. So good. But as a music fan, that's why I do this. You know, I love listening to amazing music. And so it's a real treat for me to hear music like that and think, all right, this is amazing. And so the idea of another song being on it is fantastic. But what I'm wondering is, given that you have a lot of songs to choose from, to choose the songs to go onto the EP, leaving aside the 2 singles, so the other 3 that I've heard, do you use instinct? So do you go through what you have and think, I feel this belongs in a collection, or is it actually what feels right to you when you're playing them or when you're recording them?
I actually go through a elimination process with my you know, he has quite a lot of input, because if there's a song that's stronger than another, he will choose in between, you know, either. And yeah, I mean, the new stuff that I have been working on, it's definitely a more folky country style. It's still very, very country, but it's totally different to what I have for this EP. And it's hard to choose, because I don't know whether I should just keep my style of writing like that, or should I just do songs like that? I don't know. But I think as a songwriter, and this is only natural also, it's just one of them things, from my writing that is on the EP, I mean, I will always hold that EP so close to my heart, because it was the first, you know, lot of songs that I've ever brought out. But my writing has gotten so much better. It's much more simple, and so, like I said, songs just come like that. And even more so, it's hard to choose which ones are the ones to use.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I appreciate all of them, but you just got to, I guess, choose what your audience is going to like and listen to. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, well, yes, because it's also part of that is developing that relationship with the audience and feeling your responsibility towards them, because the easier thing would actually be to say, I'm going to suit myself, I'm just going to do this. But you obviously clearly already have that sense of the audience being there waiting for you on the other side.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, I hope so. I hope people are loving what I'm doing.
Well, I think you've been charting and added to a few playlists and whatnot. So I think the answer is yes, they do. It's because I do feel like with a lot of artists, particularly maybe Australian country music artists, because the audiences are here and they're going to Tamworth and everything, there is that real sense of relationship. Do you feel it just as strongly when you're not in front of a crowd, or is it strongest when they're right there in front of you?
No, yeah, like, I mean, on social platforms, and is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, or just generally, yeah. When you're writing, like, is there a sense of the other, I suppose, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, everything from a perspective, like everything that I put on my my social accounts, like the amount of people that, you know, I may not have even met them. I've, you know, never seen them at a gig that I've played at, but I know that they listen to my music. I know that they're loving it, and they'll tag me in their videos and that kind of thing, and share my song around. I, you know, have people that sometimes contact me and say, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you could go live or do a video and talk about your songs, like where you get the ideas and where the storylines come up, you know, how does it come to you, and how do you write your songs, kind of thing. And I just think that that's so nice. The people actually, they must like what I do. And, you know, that's still such a pinch me kind of feeling. It's like, oh, you actually like what I'm doing? I'm just doing it because I like it, but you like it? Wow. Yeah. So.
Like, yes, like I can imagine it is a that kind of moment, because yes, it's something that you've held while you're creating it, and then you release it into the world, and yeah, who does know what happens on the other side? So it is great when people say that.
Definitely.
And in terms of where your ideas come from, it seems that, as you were saying with Good Enough, you know, there was that idea for there was the hook, and then you went from there. But generally speaking, it seems that you are someone who does hook into ideas floating around, and then you have a real sense of what to do with them when you have them, which is a big part of the work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you've nailed it right there. Like I it's almost like I put myself in that scenario and I just write. So like I might, you know, there's a song that I've written and it's like I'm sitting at a bar and I talk about how, you know, the fiddle's telling me to go home. Like just things come to me and I'm just, yeah, that's how I write. I put myself in that scenario and I'm like determined to finish it. And if I don't finish it, I'll come back to it, you know, and have the same thought. And I just, yeah, that's how I enjoy writing. I actually like to write like that. And I think why writing, when it does come to me, I finish a song before I hand it on to anyone else. Like it's just like something that I co-writing I've just never done. And it's almost like poetry, and then I lyrically interpret it. Like it's, you know, yeah, it's easier to do it that way, I think, for me. Yeah.
So co-writing may not be for you. That's the other interesting thing, is that, yeah, if the opportunities come up, maybe just not your deal, and that's okay too.
That is so fine. It's so fine. I mean, yeah, if it does, I think it's so important. If you feel it, just go with it. If you don't, it's okay. It's all right, you know. There's no pressure on it whatsoever. So yeah.
Well, and I should say, of the other songs that are on the EP, I mean, there's 2 songs you've released are powerful emotionally. These ones are heartbreakers, actually. I think you've left the heartbreakers to the EP rather than putting them out as singles. So I was listening to them thinking, oh, so that seems to be a conscious choice, that you've left the strongest emotion for that.
Yeah, I have. I think Fallin Off the Heartline was one of them songs that I went with the scenario for that. I mean, it is similar to, you know, maybe a heartbreak, the heartbreak you have. There's certain parts of the song, but yeah, I just went with the writing, like putting myself in that situation and writing about it. Good Enough was definitely from an experience, like you know, I was in that situation. That was, you know, quite easy to write about because I felt it. And yeah, the other songs, they're heartbreak makes some pretty good sad country songs.
Well, I agree with that assessment.
I think for, you know, people that may be going through heartbreak or they're not quite over it, especially people around, like, well, I mean, it's not for any age in, you know, specifically, but I think maybe younger girls and girls that are going through that little bit of like a vulnerable, I've been hurt kind of feeling, this song might speak to them, or these songs might speak to them easier. And yeah, I definitely did leave the other songs on the EP for not quite released. They're more like sad ballads, like big ballad songs. You Broke My Songs.
Yeah, it's but anyone who likes getting all up in their feelings, that they are definitely that. And yeah, I think it will take me off. Listen to them a few times now. I'm like, oh, there's a bit more there to discover as well. Which is great because you want that in a song. You want it to, I do. I don't want it to just be like one listen and I'm done.
Yeah, I love that.
So did you record all of the songs together? Well, the 5, because you mentioned them, well, there'll be a 6, but were all those 5 done at once?
Yeah, they were. So they were done. We laid down the track first, and my vocals were just a guide. And then I went back into the studio and laid down all my vocals. I think because when, Simon Johnson, when we were working together, when he sent me through the backing, the instrumental pieces, I spent probably about 8 weeks singing over the top of them. So as soon as I got into the studio to lay down my vocals, I was like, yeah, we're going to get this done in a day. We literally did. We got done in a day. I was just like, we had the harmonies done. I knew when I was going in there, I was like, I'm going to get this done. And we did. And yeah, it wasn't actually, it was pretty much finished. We had the whole EP done by, we started on it in March and we were done by September.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that also explains why those vocals sound so strong, was because you rehearsed them for 8 weeks.
Yeah, in my little ute, in my rickety ute. That's what yeah.
And when you go into rehearsal like that, because it's a matter of conjuring up that emotion again as well. So each time you're rehearsing them, are you feeling it, or is it more a technical thing that you just want to get what it sounds like, and then when you go to record, you save the emotion for that?
Well, it was actually Simon that he had said to me a few times, he cut the track and he just said, I really want you to pour all your emotion into that. I want you to almost it's like you're breaking down. I want you to almost speak. Right. You're that sad, feel it. And there's a few parts in some of the tracks, especially towards the end of the song in the bridges, where it's broken down. It's a really the first time that it came back to me, when he sent through the tracks and they were all instrumental done and vocals, I cried with this one particular song because I was just like, holy heck, that's sad.
I know. I heard that in the song. I heard the breaking. I just thought so I know what you mean.
So it was definitely Simon that had that input. Right. Yeah.
What a taskmaster.
But Simon Johnson, he's the best.
Well, it is. Look, it's a fantastic EP. It's not coming out for a little while yet, but it's lovely to know there will be another song. And the current single is good enough. Obviously, because you have a lot coming up next year, people can keep an eye on your socials and your website, all of that. But in the meantime, it's been lovely talking to you. I'm sure I'll talk to you again soon about new songs when they're out, and that'll be very exciting for me. So, Sarah, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you. See ya.